The Ford F-150 has been the best-selling vehicle in America for 47 consecutive years. Not the best-selling truck, the best-selling vehicle, cars included. Every single year since 1977, more Americans have bought an F-150 than any other thing on four wheels. And in 2023, Ford's own investor filings revealed the F-150 earns more gross profit per unit than a BMW 5 Series. A work truck outsells and out-earns a luxury sedan every year, without fail. Now here's the question Ford's marketing department will never ask out loud. Why does the most profitable vehicle in American history need a 25% government wall around it to survive? I pulled the original 1963 Senate Commerce Committee transcripts to find out. What I found wasn't a trade dispute. It was a machine, built in 1964, still running today, that quietly decides what you pay every time you walk into a truck dealership. In 1961, American frozen chicken was dominant in European markets. Midwest farmers were exporting hundreds of millions of pounds of poultry to West Germany and France every year. The prices were low, the volume was high, and European farmers were getting crushed. By 1963, West Germany and France responded. They raised import tariffs on American frozen poultry high enough to kill the trade entirely. The USDA's own trade records tell the story in hard numbers. U.S. frozen chicken exports to West Germany fell from $47 million in 1962 to near zero inside 2 years. That was roughly $1 billion in today's money, gone. President Lyndon B. Johnson needed the Midwest farm vote. He had a midterm election coming and angry farmers in states he couldn't afford to lose. So on January 7, 1964, Johnson signed Executive Proclamation 3564, a 25% tariff on 4 imported European categories: brandy, potato starch, dextrin, and light trucks. The brandy tariff is gone. The potato starch tariff is gone. The truck tariff is 25%, right now, today. Gary Clyde Huffbauer, senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, analyzed the original policy intent clearly. The truck tariff was designed as a temporary pressure tactic, a negotiating chip. It was never written to be permanent industrial policy, but temporary laws become permanent when billion-dollar profit margins depend on them staying alive. In 1968, Toyota's board held internal meetings specifically about the chicken tax. Their Hilux was gaining traction globally, but the 25% wall made competitive U.S. pricing nearly impossible. Toyota's response, documented in the company's own corporate history archives, was a strategic decision to begin manufacturing inside U.S. borders. Not out of goodwill, because the tariff made importing trucks economically unworkable. That one law forced billions in foreign manufacturing investment onshore and literally redrew where Honda, Toyota, Nissan, and eventually BMW and Mercedes built their American factories. But here's what it did to the cars you actually wanted. The 1987 Suzuki Samurai. If you were anywhere near a car dealership in the late 80s, you know what this was. Compact, cheap, go-anywhere capable. A cult vehicle before anyone used that term. Kids saved up for them, off-roaders loved them. Under $10,000 and genuinely fun to drive. The chicken tax made Suzuki's pricing strategy in the small truck and utility segment nearly unworkable at volume. Then, in 1988, Consumer Reports published a rollover test report the industry still argues about today. Suzuki fought it for years. The damage was done. A vehicle a generation of American drivers genuinely wanted was priced out, then publicly destroyed. And that was not an accident. Foreign manufacturers had found a workaround. Passenger vehicles entered at a 2.5% tariff. Cargo vans faced the full 25%. So they shipped commercial vans with rear seats and windows installed, imported them as passenger vehicles, drove them to nearby facilities, stripped the seats, and sold them as cargo vans. Heath Bradsher documented this in his 2002 book, High and Mighty. U.S. Customs records confirm it across multiple manufacturers. The Big Three knew. They watched. And one of them decided to run the exact same play. This is the part of the story that changes everything. Ford Motor Company is the single largest beneficiary of the chicken tax. The F-150's profit margins exist, in significant part, because foreign full-size truck competition has been walled out for 6 decades. In 2013, Ford was caught importing its own Turkish-manufactured Transit Connect vans into Baltimore as passenger vehicles, seats in, windows installed, at the 2.5% rate. 8 miles from the dock at Ford's own facility, the seats came out. The vans shipped to dealers as commercial cargo vehicles. Ford argued the seats were functional at time of import, making the passenger classification legitimate. U.S. Customs disagreed. Ford Motor Company versus United States, U.S. Court of International Trade, 2014. The company most protected by the chicken tax was simultaneously running a scheme to avoid paying it on its own products. Read that again. Now look at what this costs you directly. A 2018 Peterson Institute analysis calculated the chicken tax costs American consumers between $1 and $2.5 billion annually. Not as a tax line, but as suppressed competition. The trucks never built, never priced, never offered because the math didn't work behind a 25% wall. Professor Alan Deerdorf at the University of Michigan's Ford School of Public Policy documented how single-category tariffs hollow out entire adjacent market segments. The sub-$20,000 work truck standard in Australia, Thailand, and Mexico simply does not exist in America. A Toyota Hilux Revo in Thailand starts at roughly $18,000 equivalent today. In America, the cheapest new pickup starts above $27,000. Same company, same platform, different law. You didn't decide a cheap truck wasn't worth buying. Someone decided that market would never exist. In January 1964, over a chicken dispute that was settled before most people watching this were born, every attempt to end it has been buried. The 2011 U.S.-Korea Free Trade Agreement included a 10-year phase-out of the chicken tax. The 2018 renegotiation reversed it. Detroit lobbied hard, and Detroit won. The Alliance for Automotive Innovation spent over $46 million in Washington in 2022 alone, according to OpenSecrets.org federal records. The law, drafted as a temporary trade tactic, has now outlived every president who was alive when it was signed. I came into this story looking for a footnote. What I found was a machine that has been running inside the American truck market every single day for 61 years. Invisible to buyers, invaluable to the companies it protects. Quietly moving money from your wallet to Detroit's bottom line every time you finance a pickup. The F-150 is a great truck. That part is real. But the next time you see that price sticker, the one that starts at $35,000 for a basic work truck, understand that number was never set by the free market. It was set in 1964 by a man trying to sell more frozen chicken to West Germany, and nobody has been brave enough to change it since.